You read the title, let's go. Let's gloss over their names real quick. This is Jesse, he's 23, and his job is basically closing space wormholes. This is Imani, she's 26, and is a tattoo artist. This is Saida, she's 23 also, and doesn't have a job, because I'm gonna get into that later on, but like the story doesn't take place on Earth, and on the planet they are on right now, pregnant women are not allowed to work or do anything that could be exhausting, so she's just resting until the baby gets here. And this is Moan, he's 24, and at the beginning of the story he doesn't have a job but ends up becoming a marine biologist. So first of all, Saida was born in France. Yes, the story begins on Earth and ends up on another planet. She was born in France. She's Muslim, Arabic, but I haven't made my mind yet from where exactly. Like from where, from North Africa yet. I'm not sure yet. Moan was born in Canada. He's a Native American there. And as for Jesse and Imani, they were both born on the planet Alakan, on which the story takes place. So a few years back, I created these characters out of the need, like to engage in something hopeful, like pure escapism. I don't know if you've noticed that the world has gotten pretty bleak, okay, over the past years, and it seems to go on a downward spiral. So, I thought, I just find a happy book or a happy show, whatever, anything actually that is somewhat happy, but like weird enough, nothing that I found was like satisfying. I don't know. So I was like, why is the escapism not escaping? So anyways, and I feel like there's been some kind of like trend with anti-heroes and morally grey protagonists and nihilism in media too. So most of the stories that we see, at least on mainstream media, I feel like end up being pretty like sad or like just bleak, just sad. And honestly, I'm kind of tired of it, and I think it would be fine if the world wasn't in such a mess right now. But with how things are, I end up just wanting to engage in something that is hopeful. Like, please, can you show me someone smiling and knowing that they're not gonna die in 5 minutes? Like, I just want to see something hopeful because I personally like to use media as a form of escapism, and since I'm not the one to wait around and I just thought, fine, I'll do it myself then. So I asked myself, what does the perfect world, the perfect society looks like to me? And that's how this whole thing started. When you look at like artists making OCs, sometimes I feel like there's this like weird competition on like who has the worst backstory. And when I say like what I mean by worst is who has the saddest one, like who has the most traumatic thing happens to their OCs. It reminds me of a trend on Instagram. I don't clearly remember what it was correctly, but it was centered around OCs having tragic backstories. And I saw a few of them, and quickly I was like weirded out because some people seem to have some kind of pride with having like deeply traumatized like characters. Like they were so proud of having their characters having the most tragic and traumatic shit happen to them. And first of all, I couldn't participate because my OCs are mostly happy, and second of all, I feel like traumatizing characters just for the sake of it, like misery porn. Even, I mean, not everyone obviously was doing that, but I saw a few of them, and it was definitely misery porn. It was definitely like, oh look, like my character is like on the verge of killing themselves. It's just, and sometimes it doesn't. I mean, I don't know the back, like more of the story of these characters that I've seen, because most of them is just like, see, my characters are cool and now follow me, But like sometimes it definitely looks like, oh yeah, you're just traumatizing just to be shocking on Instagram, and I guess it's fine. You do what you want, and you can to have more followers on Instagram. But it's just didn't sit well with me. And I understand it to some point, not the misery porn, okay, but I understand um that it can make for interesting stories, and that's when I realized I didn't want to do any of that. Again, I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just, writing side characters, like, why is that so popular, I guess. Like, why is that the case outside of it being to make interesting stories? And now that I'm saying that, most of my OCs don't have a very tragic backstories. If anything tragic happens, it's going to be the plot of the story. It's not going to be like their backstory and why they are the way they are. If I mean, my characters have a explanation of why the way they are, but most of the time it's not very tragic. It's just, people grew up, and sometimes, you get traumatized, but not because like someone killed your family and then they chased after you for 1 month and now you have to chase them back, and the story begins after like everyone is dead and shit. Like, no, it's not, like, when I mean my characters are traumatized, it's like, yeah, your dad was like, my dad was mean to me, or like I was bullied at school, or like I knew someone and they died over like a disease, and now like I'm grieving a friendship that I couldn't complete or like have throughout my life. That's what I mean when I'm saying my characters are traumatized. It's stuff that would happen to like regular people, like not just like I was in a cult and then I escaped and then my dog became like a sentient creature that led me through war and like no, but like it's not, it's just regular stuff that happens to regular people, and then something tragic happens and it's going to be the plot of the story. Anyways, I'm yapping too much about that. Anyways, I wanted to create characters that are not quite satisfied with their life yet, and then the plot of the story would be around them building a beautiful life together. So the premise of this story for my OCs is basically that some planets are connected by wormholes. And if you don't know what a wormhole is, it's basically a hole in space that connects to a place. So let's say you're in New York and you walk through a wormhole, you either end up like far away in like Australia, or you can end up in a different galaxy, on a different planet, or just in the middle of space, actually, like underground. Like, it's random. You don't know where you're going to end up, and if you try to go back to that same hole, you're not going to end up where you started. You're gonna end up somewhere else because it's not stable. But in this story, the wormholes have been stabilized by governments across the universe, and you can go through in and out, safely, except sometimes wormhole just appears out of nowhere in the middle of the street or anywhere, actually, which is, very dangerous, because, if you're not careful, you can fall through them and then you're done and you can never go back, and then you die wherever you are. And that's basically what happened to Saida and Mohan. They were on Earth, and accidentally both of them went through a wormhole, and they ended up on this planet who disconnected all of their wormholes to other planets except for two, which none of them is Earth, so they can never go back. Literally, they can never go back because the wormhole they went through was not a stabilized one, it was just a random one. And the story focuses around them having to accept their fate, quote unquote, and adapt to a new life from now on. And the whole point and theme of the story is that everything is going to be different, but it's going to be okay. I purposely write it to be either like happy or comforting, depending on what happens and the way the story is organized. I like write in little moments of joy, quote unquote. Like, I mean that I write small scenes here and there where they either resolve a conflict, find a solution to a problem, or just have a good time together. The best example are my videos Waiting for Spring and Precious Times. where like I briefly talk about what's happening in the story, and it's basically just my characters having a good time or just making a sad situation and turning it around to make it more less sad, or you know, more more enjoyable. And I love this drawing so much, like I love it so much, and I think it's my favorite one of them. I actually have only like two drawing of the four of them together, and it's this one and another one that I already posted on my Instagram. And but I just love this one so much because they look so like happy. I don't know, I love it. um and you know, that's the whole point. That is the whole reason I made them, really. I wanted to have happy OCs, look at them and feel better. uh and now, honestly, like when I have a bad day, I just think about them and I feel better, like for real. Like I'm not even lying, I'm not even pretending right now. I actually, like when I have a bad day, my coping mechanism is just looking at them, and I'm like, oh my god. Oh my god, they're so cute. Oh my god, they're so happy and shit. And you know, like what's weird is that for a second, while I was like creating them and going through the process of, okay, I'm making happy OCs, so I when I look outside the window, I don't feel like jumping, you know. Like I thought I was gonna get some sort of jealousy. Like I was like, what if I look at them and I'm like, I wish this happened to me instead? You know, the type of vibe, like, you know, just jealousy. But actually, no. When I look at them, I'm just like, oh my god, at least you guys are happy. Like, at least you have it easy. And I mean, not easy, that's insane to say. Not easy at all, actually. But like, at least you guys are happy and you found peace and community, and you're happy, you're content with your life, and I'm glad that happened to you. Even though I wish that would happen on Earth more often, but like, you know, whatever, you know, let's move on. I'm just happy for them. As I briefly mentioned earlier, the story doesn't take place on Earth, and that is because even like for other stories of mine, I feel limited on writing stories on Earth. Like there are so many rules and stuff that I have to take in consideration. Like, what if the story were to take place in France, for example? Because I live in France. What would that mean for my characters? And for example, and you know, I can't ignore these facts. Like I don't know why. Maybe I'm just being, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being too much, but I just can't ignore some facts. And for example, Saida is hijabi, and if you don't know, for the longest time here in France, the politics have been trying to shape this narrative that hijabis are like either victims of their own faith and that you can free them by ripping off the jabi off of them, or they're just the devil in disguise. And like, if the goal is to make Saida happy, she can literally not stay here. Like, it wouldn't make sense, and like she would never be genuinely happy and safe in France. So like, why would I want her to grow old here, or even have a child here? Like, that does not make sense. She cannot stay, and I would have to like make her live somewhere else. And for Jessie, being black in France is either an okay cheer experience or traumatizing. Like, as for myself, I think I'm on the lucky side and I'm fine, I'm okay. But like, I cannot say that for like every person, like every black person here. And you might be like, yo Daya, like what if you just make the story take place somewhere else on Earth? And well, actually, same problem. Like, it's the same problem everywhere. And if Saida is safe, Jessie wouldn't. And if Jessie is safe, Saida wouldn't. And it's not even just like, actually it's worse, because it's not even just about race and religious minorities. All of my OCs are either of color, from a religious minority, queer, or disabled. You like, I'm begging you to give me the name of a country where all of these people can be safe, sound, and happy. Like, actually, because if that's the case, I'm going there. Just give me a name of a country right now. But like, as far as I know, and I don't know a lot, so maybe I'm misinformed, but as far as I know, there's no such place on Earth. And if I want to truly make them safe and genuinely happy, there is so much stuff that I will have to take away or add from like real life, but at the same time I just cannot ignore, like, I want to, but I don't know, I'm struggling to ignore that life on Earth is as it is and how society functions. You know, I just don't feel right writing them on Earth. And also add that to the fact that I made these characters as a mean to escape reality. Okay, it gets just too much. Like, no matter where I place them, it wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't be satisfying because it just wouldn't make sense if they were to happen on Earth. Not because the story is outlandish, it's not at all, but because the essence of the story, the softness of it, and the intent of the story is just too unrealistic and even unreasonable to like happen on Earth. And it's a little sad actually, or maybe it's probably because I'm like way more pessimistic that I would like to admit. But you know, I see our world and society as way too rough of a place for them, and I'm taking this probably way too seriously. Like, I'm so serious about this, but I love them way too much, you know, to like give them anything else than softness and tenderness. And honestly, I think this world cannot offer that as of right now. So that's why I decided to like create a new world from scratch, the planet Alakan, where the story takes place, and it's inspired by a lot of concepts. So there's Iyashike, slice of life, queer normative, like deep space, hope punk, mainly people of color, solar punk, and just doing that like brought me into the world of like world building, and I love it so much. Like, I love it so much. One of my goals for this story is to write an atlas with like everything about the planet, like every single thing about the planet, and I'm actively like writing it, and I'm also going to introduce them individually. So if you're interested, stay tuned. Anyway, that's all I had to say for today. Thanks for watching.